Oh, okay, so it is episode 16 of Trollord Games. In this particular Trollord Games, the Castle Keeper's Guide. In this, we are drawing 12 maps going from Thorpe, Hamlet, village all the way through town into a metropolis, but we're also doing a keep, we're doing a Motte and Bailey all the way through to a mega castle. 12 maps in all. We are slowly hacking these through. Tonight is going to be working on inking the block, which is the tower choice. So we're doing a little bit of a cutaway. Before we get into this, I want to thank all of my Patreons for backing me. I want to thank all of my subscribers here on Twitch for supporting me. It is truly appreciated. Every single dime goes back into the channel, and it keeps just making it better and better and better. So we will talk more of that a little bit later on, because we're going to touch on the Discord. I think before then, let's just talk about the little guy in the room here with us, Jack Cole. Hi, Jack. Well, you're Jack Cole, which I always think of Jackal or Mr. Cole. You have the best name ever. Everyone loves you. And Mondays from now on is going to be Alyssa and Jack. And we're just going to bullshit, okay? I'm going to map, but we're going to chat, we're going to hang, and we're just going to bullshit, okay? And I have a list of questions that we were working through last week, and we all found out a little bit about Jack, a little bit about me. And honestly, I've been with Jack for over 10 years now. And I learned some things. So we're going to continue this little exploration as we map. And when the questions are done, we're just going to keep on bullshitting about other things. So, with that said, here at the start of the stream, I think last time, I think we spoke about RPG archetypes. And we definitely covered that. Did we cover miniature line? Oh, we did, because you did the Rackham. And we did Disney character, right? Yes. Alright. So in that case, what we're going to do is Marvel character. Who's your favourite Marvel character? And why? Wait, what? Marlin's girl, by the way, thanks for bringing that up, so hold on a sec. Actually, Jackson speak. Actually, yeah, so... No, because if I can hear you, they're meant to be able to hear me through this. So, okay, hold on a sec. Thanks for bringing this up. We had no technical issues last time, but I have completely rewired my computer over the weekend. And you know what happens when you move USB cables around? So let's take a look at our audio here. Let's just see how it's set up. We got audio input capture. That's me speaking right now. We got audio output capture, which is doing nothing. We are going to link that to my game, Jack Talk.
Hi, so we're doing a sound test now. Thank you to everybody who's mentioned that.
I bet you can hear him now, huh? Someone could confirm.
Yeah, I actually heard. I have the stream running, so yes.
Alright, so that is pulling USB cables out and plugging them in, and the computer going, I don't know even what device this is now. So it looks like we're back. Thank you, Mullins Girl and Mavernus, for pointing that out. We are talking favourite Marvel characters. Jack revealed that it is Deadpool, and he was talking about some of the older Deadpools and some of the dark side of Deadpool. Jack, rewind it 30 seconds. Tell us about your favourite character. By the way, everyone in the chat, we're just going to hang, we're going to chill, going to talk about different subject matters with Jack. It is going to spiral into different things. I invite you to participate. So I want to hear, who's your favourite Marvel character and why? So Jack, pick it back up.
So yeah, so I would probably say the easy answer is definitely Deadpool, but almost not the entirety of Deadpool. The Ryan Reynolds film version is damn good and it's really funny. But I actually wasn't a super fan of when he first started in the comics. I think it was like New Mutants or X-Force. It was one of those when he first was introduced, and he was kind of a darker character. Yeah, he kind of had a little bit of humor, but it was like always dark humor, and he was supposed to be like this kind of like antagonistic character to the heroes, and so I don't know, he was never fun in my opinion in the beginning, and it wasn't until they kind of revamped him and kind of made him his own thing and had him go solo that I really started to enjoy them. I don't know when I'm so terrible when it comes to comics, especially keeping up to date on them and knowing when stuff comes out, because I always get them 5, 10, 15 years later as like a big collected series. And so I got when he started having his own individual run, and it was way more comedic, and he had like the from his perspective, you have his normal voice, and he has like 2 other voices like in his head that talk to him all the time, which I was kind of sad that they didn't do for the film. But it just was such a fun story, and it goes all over the place, like literally all over the place. At one point, he's destined to be like the hero of the universe, and it's like that's gonna stop like an apocalyptic event, and it's like even he's like, wait, me? Have you met me? What the hell? so it was fun. What? So he's probably the easy answer is probably him. Even though I love him as a character, if I was gonna go though Marvel like MCU, like for like cinematic Marvel, I don't know if actually it would be Deadpool. I think it would probably lean more towards Rocket Raccoon from the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Rocket Raccoon. I wouldn't have even considered him.
Yeah, he's I love the film. The screen version of Rocket is I just find is outstanding.
And by the way, thanks to King. Welcome. Love to see you, man. Hey, GL, good to see you here as well. Thanks for hanging out, everyone, tonight. Very much appreciated. All right, so we've got Deadpool, but beaten out by Rocket Raccoon. Never would have even thought about it.
Only for the screen.
Only for the screen. No, that's fair. That's fair. What about DC character? I feel that's harder.
Hold on, hang on. Before we do that, I know you're not like a big comic book person. You've got to answer these questions too. So you've obviously only seen Marvel films. So who would be your number 1 Marvel character?
Oh man, I don't know, because I mean my influence has been purely from the films. And
well, and those are certainly valid choices. I mean, you could say that I only have the knowledge from the film, so I like them from that.
Can I pick Groot? Can I pick Groot? Would that be fair?
Yeah, yes, Groot definitely works. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think I would have to pick Groot, and I think I would have to pick, honestly, like Baby Groot. I think that's the one I would have to do.
From Guardians 2, yeah.
Yeah, from Guardians 2. That whole opening sequence with him, like dancing to music while everyone is just fighting that big, huge boss creature. That just, to this day, just cracked me up. I love that thing. It slays me.
Fun fact, that Baby Groot's dance movements are actually modeled after the director and writer James Gunn. You can actually see a behind-the-scenes shot of them filming him on a soundstage, dancing around to Mr. Blue Sky from the film, just dancing around crazy, and it was his dancing and movement that they put then the Baby Groot dancing off of from that intro sequence. It's actually a really funny video of James Gunn dancing around like a crazy person.
That's cool. I never knew that. All right, so we are going to do the next one. What about your favorite DC character?
Now, I must admit, I have not read a lot of DC comics. And additionally, I have seen very few DC films. I can't say I've seen few DC films because I've seen what's out there. So I know what's out there. So I know, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash. I know that's pretty much my that's really my only knowledge. With that being said, I probably would have to do the Joker, knowing full well.
Joker, yeah, I forgot about him.
Knowing full well that he is not a good person, he is a horrible person. He's a crazy psychopath, a sociopath, all the paths he has them. But I also think, and I'm not one of those like crazy people that like thinks he's so awesome and like he's so good. It's like no, this is somebody who has serious problems and is a great villain. And yes, he can be entertaining and amusing, but he is a murderer. He is a crazy person. But I think he's great because of that, because there's nothing special going on with him. It's just he's a genius and he's insane. And that's it. He has no superpowers. I mean, that's it. It's just he just has his crazy, twisted, chaotic intellect. And he will beat you to death with a crowbar or shoot you in the face or blow you up with a bomb, and that's kind of it. He's not like he's got, anything special going on other than that. So I don't know. I dig him.
I think that's a good choice. I don't know if I could actually, with all seriousness, say anyone else instead of that. That's a solid choice right there. Alright. Hey Brian, it's good to see you, my friend. We're hanging out here with Jack. I'm glad that you could join us this evening. Just so everyone knows what I'm doing, I'm beginning to ink in the block here. And this is not familiar waters to me to actually be doing a cutaway. So you're definitely going to be seeing a little bit of, draw, redraw going on tonight. But we're gonna give it a go. Like, why is this one so wonky compared to that one? I don't know. All of these questions and more answered next week. Alright, so
you said you would do Joker as well?
I would do Joker. Is that the Thunderdome? It is the Thunderdome, and we're gonna have these two women and this bloke fight it out. Alright, so let's flip this around a little bit. So
I like the blacksmith or the worker.
Yeah, I might redraw him a little bit. It's a bit crude. I mean, the print size is this, so it's really small. But I am going to add some extra details, I think, to these guys. I'm going to draw a cow and stuff in there too. I've got them there for scale. Like, I really love that guy with the amphora. Alright, I'm going to skip the comic character because you already really sort of answered that a little bit. Oh, no, did you? Favorite comic character? You've read a lot of comics that never made it into the movies and may even not be part of the DC or the Marvel Universe. Favorite comic character?
So favorite comic character.
And Devin Rue, thank you very much for the follow. That's really appreciated. And thank you for even being out there looking at your humble servants. We're hanging out with Jack, by the way. Jack's my husband, if you didn't know. We're talking comic books and stuff.
Gosh, favorite comic book character, and it could be anything. So yeah, I'm stepping away from Marvel and DC. When I was younger and when I was, I had a darker sense of humor when I was younger. And so when there were years ago, my answer would have been something like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, which kind of like the Joker he was not a quote unquote good guy. I mean, there's a reason why he was called Johnny the Homicidal Maniac is because he was a crazy person and he would kill people. But I kind of think I've kind of moved away from a little bit from that style of humor. So if I was gonna do a comic book character of anybody, that would be. Oh, you know what? I've gotta say. So there's this great comic book artist out of Croatia. His name is Stjepan Sage, and he does amazing work, and he's pretty active on Facebook. And he used to post to like DeviantArt a lot, but he pretty much posts like new stuff to like Patreon these days. But he's got a comic line called Death Vigil, which is it's kind of like it's like a group of Grim Reapers. There's the main Grim Reaper, who's like the Grim Reaper, and then she has like this group of other Reapers that they basically stop like demons and entities, but they also, like are guardians of like the undead like life force. I think it's this whole thing. Anyways, there's a character from there. Yes, Brian knows him. Yes, Stjepan Sage, Shage, I think that's how you say it. But yes, there's a character, one of the Reapers, his name is Sam. He's known as the Grave Digger. His weapons are a spade and a pick. I actually have a symbol on my phone of his work, and it's actually the symbol for Sam the Grave Digger. I don't know if you can actually see that at all. Anyways, you probably can't. It's great. It's a great comic, and I would probably say that if we're talking about comic book character, right? Then yes, Sam the Grave Digger from Death Vigil. Hello, Strega. Hello.
Hey, Princess. Princess, I'm just inking in the tower tonight a little bit. So while I'm doing this, Jack is joining us. Jack joins us every Monday now. So I'm going to be playing around with this, trying to just get a little bit of the black and white work in, and we're just talking about our hobby and all of the aspects of it. Okay, next question. And Jack, I don't hear you talk about this type of thing very often. Favorite anime character?
Favorite anime character is by far L from Death Note. Probably followed up with some of the other characters from Death Note, like Ryuk, the Shinigami, yeah, I gotta say, I don't, obviously there's like the main character, Light, who you can root for or root against depending on what you believe, but yeah, L from Death Note is probably my number one favorite anime character.
I gotta be honest with you, the whole Death Note thing, you're the one that got me onto Death Note, and after watching it, I wish I had a Death Note. I like to think that the entire world would be a much better place if I did. A great show, an incredible show.
And well, it's funny if you think about it, Light, that's, he started off the same way. He started off trying to make the world a better place and taking out evildoers, taking out bad people. So it's one of those things where, it could have, that could be us. Who knows? Abusing the power, becoming dark, becoming evil. We decide who's right and wrong. But I agree. I would like to believe that I would not become evil, and I would.
We'd probably become evil. You know that, right?
Use it for the betterment. Yeah, it's one of those. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, the Magnificent Pecs. Oh, come on, the Magnificent Pecs. I was going to say thank you for the follow, but no. Just so everyone knows, Pecs, by the way, is my social media guy. So I'm going to assume the Magnificent Pecs is him, and he's coming here to lurk. It's that or it's a bot. All right.
I have to do the voice because Strega did Shadows, but Shadows.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that was the. Alright, so, and Alex Vixen, thank you for joining us this evening. It's very much appreciated. We're joined with Jack as ever. He's going to be our Monday guest every Monday, and we're just talking DC characters, Marvel characters, we're talking comic book characters, and we're just moving through subjects, and we're just going to see where they go.
Nerdy shenanigans. So let me counter with you. We got to take a step back because you yourself have read comics and comic books you skipped over yourself, what comic book character would be your favorite?
Which comic book character my favorite?
Mm-hmm.
I don't read that many comics.
Shenanigans, exactly, Alex. Well, you used to. We've actually
yes.
Ooh, Constantine. Good choice, Max.
Yeah, Constantine. That's a cracking one. You know, I never actually thought you'd be asking me questions. I'm completely ill-prepared to actually answer these damn things. But, if I was to put my thinking cap on... Oh, you know what? Yeah, okay. I'm actually going to tap into the past when I used to read something called 2000 AD. And 2000 AD had some... it would be like a little compilation of stories every Saturday. And you'd go to the store, you'd get the little comic, there'd maybe be 6 stories in there. Judge Dredd was in there. Judge Dredd is an incredible character, incredible, like, rich lore that they managed to build up over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of issues of 2000 AD. And I want to say some of my biggest influences and some of my biggest likes and some of my passion and yearning for drawing or black and white artwork actually came from these comics. And so I think I would actually point to a couple. I would point to Robo Hunter, Sam Slade, but I would actually look at Halo Jones. Halo Jones, I think, went for 2 or 3 seasons, and they were just outstanding. She was an incredible, strong woman. You know, it gave this entire story arc of her being on this sort of I'm not going to say post-apocalyptic future, but this future on a planet where, you know, things are pretty dire. You know, it's one of those dire sort of bleak views of humanity where everyone's just eking out a living, to her journey into the stars. And it was great. Halo Jones. That's what my answer would be for that.
I kind of figured it would be either Halo Jones or, you know, like you said, Robo Hunter or Strontium Dog or even one of the ABC Warriors. I mean, I remember when you were telling me when you first were in, you were the ones who introduced me into all of those characters, and so I was like, it's probably gonna be one of them.
And if I was gonna pick ABC Warriors, though, it would have to be the story arc as a whole, because there were so many characters. There's like, you know, something like 7 of these robots. And I always remember, as a kid, opening up this comic where they're introducing the robot wars, and it's and it's how humans fought against each other. They eventually just had robots against robots, but these robots are kind of sentient, and this incredible double-page spread of just robots tearing each other fucking apart. And I fell in love immediately. And then Simon Beasley got hold of the series at one point, and Beasley, his artwork nowadays is like almost overdone, but back in the early times, like he was black and white artwork, and there were these little tiny vignettes of stories going on in every panel. Even if it was just a little tiny ruined robot in the background, he has nothing to do with the dialogue going on, and he's lying there, and there'll just be this little coming out of his mouth, and it just made you want to hunt for the details that he would put in there. And I loved it. I loved it as a complete production, ABC Warriors, versus an individual.
Gotcha. So not one of them where you were like, oh, he's so the best, or that one's the best. It's...
Well, no, because there was some tropes in there. You know, Hammerstein, the leader, he was more like your Crusader type. There was, you know, Joe Pineapples, and he was like the assassin and the sniper. But I'm not sure any individual on his own shone with so much personality that I'd go, oh, him. It was more a collective of all of them, you know.
Right. Again, I have to thank you for introducing me to the ABC, to all of those. And, you know, I think out of all of them, for me personally, I think the ABC Warriors was probably my favorite out of all of them.
Did you read them?
I read those first 2 volumes that you have. I read those because when you were telling me about them, and then I acquired them for you, and I was like, here, you read them, and then you were like, you should read these, and then I read them. So.
I forgot that you read them. Princess wants a quick recap, by the way, on your Marvel and DC, if you just want to recap them.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. So she's got Wolverine and Power Girl. Mine are hello Wargaming Recon.
Oh, Wargaming Recon. Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
Okay, so let's see. Marvel would be Deadpool. Um, for his more comedic run in the comics, and also the screen version is pretty good with Ryan Reynolds. And then for DC, it is the Joker, um, knowing full well that he is a despicable, horrible person, but I like the fact that his crazy, chaotic intellect is really his only weapon. Aside from knives and guns and bombs, but those would be my two for Marvel and DC.
So Wargaming Recon, and for anyone that's just joined, by the way, thank you for joining, just hanging out with us this evening. It's really, really appreciated. I'm just chilling here drawing, and Jack and I are talking all things geeky and nerdy. Wargames Recon. This is a project for Trollord Games. It is a series of 12 maps going from a hamlet through to a thorp, through to a hamlet, through to a village. That's what we're drawing right here. All with crazy, crazy detail. And we're going to go up into a metropolis with everything in between. So we'll have the town, we'll have a fortified town, we'll have a city, then we'll go up to the metropolis. But we're also going to do a tower, a motte and bailey, a fortified military camp, a castle, and a mega castle. They don't call it a mega castle, they call it a greater castle. So it's 12 maps in all, and I'm doing them on one canvas. They're going to have them separated obviously across the book, and I'll have like a little panel of text and descriptions and maybe even NPCs and everything. But I'm doing it this way because what a sexy freaking poster this will make. So this is what we're doing. And we're motoring along. The level of detail, by the way, that I'm putting into these maps is kind of ridiculous. But why not? If it's going to be printed as a poster, let's get ridiculous with this type of thing, right? Let's draw the planks on the roofs and the nails in the planks. That's literally what we've been doing. And right now, I'm doing a tower. And we decided to make it a block, which is a type of tower. And I'm currently taking my sketch and I'm inking it in, and it's a cutaway. It's going to be the only cutaway on this entire map, because a tower from above, no matter what you do with the roof, is going to be pretty boring. So a cutaway, super sexy. We'll have little people inside. We'll have a little fireplace. We'll have some cattle on the ground floor. It's going to be super sex. So that's what we're working on, my friend. And I've just started the inking process tonight. And it's probably going to be 2 or 3 streams. This week, we'll finish the block. And welcome, Zombie.
Wargaming Recon did actually ask as well, what helps you more, subscriptions or bits for the stream?
Oh, so thank you very much for even considering it. Subscriptions actually would be very appreciated, even if you just subscribe for 1 month. Just so everyone knows, we will actually be launching our Discord channel next Monday, and anyone who is subscribed to us here on Twitch or on Patreon will have private access 24/7, and Pex has done a great job of setting it up. Not only will you get exclusive content over there, exclusive videos, you get to hang out, and I have Discord open like all day. Okay, we get to chill, we'll hang out together.
So in answer to your question, Strega, about the Flash TV show, or as Pex points out, the Arrowverse, like the Berlanti television shows. I got you, girl. I got you. I saw it. I was holding off. I used to watch the show a while ago, but it got kind of stale for me, and it got kind of, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of it. I liked the crossover episodes where all of the different shows would come together. Even though I didn't watch any of those other shows, I really pretty much exclusively watched The Flash. But then I got more interested in the Legends of Tomorrow show. So I actually pretty much dropped off of The Flash and watched Legends of Tomorrow. But even that started to get kind of old. So I don't at the moment. I don't watch any of those DC TV shows. DC is one of those things where I'm glad they've had so much success in those in the television, because their cinematic stuff hasn't done as well for them, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so that's what that is.
Wargaming Recon, by the way, loves your background. Everyone loves your background,
Thanks.
man.
Yeah, this was when obviously when COVID happened, like it's not still going on. When the quarantine first started happening because of COVID, StarWars.com actually released a whole bunch of Zoom backgrounds for free. They were just like, here, these are fun little Star Wars backgrounds you can use in Zoom or any other type of streaming app you use for your meetings. And so this is from the sequel trilogy. This is in one of the Resistance bases. I forget which one. It might be Crate from the second film, The End of the Last Jedi. But yeah.
Princess loved the Marvel movies, not the TV shows. For DC, prefers the TV shows over the movies.
Yeah, that seems to be the way of it. That seems to be the way of it. Although, that being said, the Netflix Marvel shows, in my opinion, have been outstanding. The Jessica Jones, Daredevil, The Punisher, Luke Cage. The first season got kind of weak, but in my opinion, the second season was outstanding. And then the Defenders, or Iron Fist, not so much on Iron Fist. I really tried getting an Iron Fist, and I just couldn't.
Oh shit, things just moved. Yeah, Daredevil definitely was amazing. By the way, War Games Recon, thank you so much for the sub. That is really, really, really appreciated. Alright, so Jack, you're going to love this one. Jack, by the way, just so everyone has some context here, Jack is a huge Star Wars fan. Not to the point of being like, a fanboy so much. He can be critical, but he is your true fan. He knows a lot. Now, he's not going off to Vegas doing competitions and trivia quizzes, but he knows a lot. And so this next question is going to be pertinent. Jack, who is your favorite, let's say, which is your favorite? Star Trek or Star Wars? And why?
Well, it's one of those things where I know that in the past there was a lot of animosity between, Star Trek lovers and Star Wars lovers, kind of like there's kind of is now, where it's like DC and Marvel. I'm definitely in the camp of, why can't you like all of it? Why do we need to put ourselves in these different groups and like battle each other because of it? Like, I like Star Trek, you Star Wars nerds, get out of here. It's like but if I had to pick, if it was like gun to my head, had to pick, it would have to go Star Wars. And I know that these days it's very problematic with everything that's gone on with the prequels and in the sequel trilogy and the behind the scenes stuff, as far as Disney as a company and LucasArts as a company. That's that is what it is. I can't help it, and I love Star Wars more out of the two. But I love Star Trek as well. So it's always kind of funny that it's like, why do I have to have both? Like, either? I want both. They're both so good.
Yeah, you could do both, right? You could be a fan of both.
But if I had to do a Thanos snap and one of them's gone forever, sadly, Trek's got to go. So yeah. And I think it's got to be because the thank you, Brian, thank you. I tried liking Deep Space Nine. I couldn't get into it. And there's so many people that are like, and Wargaming Recons in the group, where they're like, the Deep Space Nine is so good. I couldn't get into it. For some reason, I don't know what it was. I think I might have been spoiled because of Babylon 5. And I think they did they had a better story as far as like the whole space station goes, with all of the different, cultures and races and groups coming together. I felt it was, and supposedly, we actually have a friend who I guess knew the guy who created Deep Space Nine, and he was actually friends with somebody or something, and I guess they had a falling out, and like the one guy went on to do Babylon 5, and then the other guy went and did Deep Space Nine, which was almost like a blatant ripoff of Babylon 5, and so it was like they created this big rift between the two of them, and they like not friends at all. But yeah, it's like I wanted to like Deep Space Nine because it's Star Trek. Star Trek's freaking awesome, but I just couldn't get into it. I just couldn't get into it. You do, Strega. You do the Babylon 5. Getting those on DVD, it's you just pop them in at any time. That'd be the way to go.
Babylon 5 was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I think we skipped past any level of controversy on that one. Well done, Jack, for your diplomacy.
I don't like again, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't like the fact that, I mean, it's like we're all nerds together. Why do we have to, create our little tribes and battle each other, battle it out? I mean,
No, that's fair. That's fair. I tend to be in the same camp. Do you geek and nerd out on something? Fantastic. I'm a fan of yours,
Mm-hmm.
All right, so a little bit of a change of pace. Favorite gaming food?
Gaming food?
Gaming food.
Like, are we talking about like Mountain Dew and Cheetos? Like that kind of like, or like a food in a game? Like, what do you mean gaming?
No. It's the mountain of Cheetos.
Okay. Yeah, I think I gotta go with Strega on that one. I think it's gotta be pizza. Like, when we would have in-person D&D games, or Shadowrun or Earth Dawn or Call of Cthulhu or whatever it may be. Yeah, I know we would, like, because we were getting together at a home, we're able to make food. But I don't know, every time we'd order pizza, that'd be the way to go. And actually, to tell you the truth, when I was younger, and I would go to back in either high school or college, and I'd go to friends' houses for like LAN parties or like console gaming parties, pizza was always the way to go. I never was one of those stereotypical Mountain Dew like drinkers, like from back in the day. Like that was a big thing. Like you get a big 2-liter of Mountain Dew and like chips or something. I don't know. I was never a big fan of that kind of stuff.
So everyone, by the way, has a little bit of context here too. Jack and I are in a fortunate position to have some real life friends that we pre-COVID would get together with every 2 weeks, and we actually take it in turns to cook for each other on gaming day. And like every single person in the group is a really good cook, so we actually wouldn't get pizza that much because people would be coming with like complete meals, like 3-course meals and stuff, and it was really good. And they'd hang out in the kitchen, we're playing a game, they'd cook some food, we'd eat brilliantly. And so I think for me, I mean, while I've got a soft spot for the junk food that you eat during the day, when you got your nachos and that stupid melted cheese that comes in a jar and you heat it up in the microwave, I'll eat that shit all day long. I think for me, it was actually when one of our number cooked a British breakfast. Full on. Tomatoes, beans, fried toast, sausages, fried tomatoes, you name it, it was on the plate. And it was so good.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Recreated the traditional English breakfast.
He recreated the traditional English breakfast, and to this day, I want to eat that again. Then another friend actually does a really mean homemade pot pie, a chicken pot pie, homemade, and that is, my mouth's watering. So if I'm going to talk gaming food myself, I'm going to point at those two and go, yeah, I want more of that.
They're never going to watch the rerun, but just in case, to get the signal out there, James and Dave, we need English breakfast and homemade pot pies stat.
Yeah. Good times and good food. All right, so gaming drink then.
Gaming drink. That's kind of one of those things. I mean, when you and I first met over a decade ago, my gaming drink was just Diet Coke. I would bring a 12-pack. I would bring a 12-pack box to the game, and typically by the end of the evening, that 12-pack was gone. Because we'd be sitting there playing from anywhere from 10 to 12 hours because we were crazy people back then. When I was younger, I mean, like I said, I had friends that did the whole Mountain Dew thing. Not super not a fan of that. I did consume a bottle of red wine on occasion on gaming nights, or would do the beer thing, typically Guinness, or actually I used to drink Arrogant Bastard ale no Arrogant Bastard beer. I don't know what the hell, I don't even know what it would be classified as.
I think it's an ale.
It can whatever the hell it was, it would peel paint off a damn wall. That stuff, it's one of those things where the back of the bottle says you are not worthy, and then it goes through like a paragraph telling you why you're not worthy to drink it. You should just put it back on the shelf. I used to laugh at that as I would drink it, but now sadly, because my palate's changed, I can't drink it anymore. I am not worthy of Arrogant Bastard, sadly. Oh, Jeff Bashman confirms that it's a dark stout ale.
And Bashman would know. Some of my highlights drinking at the table was my IPA period, actually. Mm-hmm. Sitting down with just a selection of IPAs. Portland, by the way, if you don't know, is like one of the microbrewery centers of the country. If not the world. We're like, per capita, we have so many microbrewers, and they all seem to do IPAs, but different ones. So actually experimenting with different IPAs while sitting with my friends gaming, that's a highlight for me. And I don't drink IPAs anymore, which is kind of weird because they were like part of my life for years. But that is maybe a highlight. If I had to say my favorite drink, it would be the one I actually don't drink anymore.
Nice. A couple of acknowledgements from people in the chat. Let's see. Peck said brisk tea. Alex was in coffee. Strega says that it used to be Pepsi back in the day. Wargaming Recon says single malt. Hell yeah. Sprite Zero or water. Let's see. Strega says that she also loves orange soda, but it's a rare indulgence. So
they're all good drinks. Coffee, funny you should mention coffee there too.
Yeah,
it's one of those drinks where it's like who the hell would mention that, right? But it's one of the highlights in our particular gaming group, where it's like, who wants coffee? Around 5:30 or something, and everyone's like, oh, me. You go off and make a pot of fresh coffee. It's like, hell yeah.
Yeah. It would always be, we'd have our colas and beers throughout the day. Then we'd hit coffee, and always after coffee, it would then be, does anybody want a glass of whiskey? And then that was then. Oh, we've got links to the Arrogant Bastard back text.
Okay, do you want to read it out?
Oh, yes. All right, sure, I'll read it out. Arrogant Bastard. Arrogance, noun. The act or quality of being arrogant, haughty, undue assumption, overbearing conceit. Oh, Jesus, it's a big thing. Arrogant Bastard Ale. This is an aggressive ale. You probably won't like it. It is quite doubtful that you have the taste or sophistication to be able to appreciate an ale of this quality and depth. We would suggest you stick to safer and more familiar territory. Maybe something with a multi-million-dollar campaign, multi-million-dollar ad campaign aimed at convincing you that it's made by a little brewery, or one that implies that their tasteless fizzy yellow beer will give you more sex appeal. Perhaps you think multi-million-dollar ad campaigns make a beer taste better. Perhaps you're mouthing your words as you read this. And because it's the special, it's a special link for the oaked Arrogant Ale, it goes on to continue talking about their updated brand. But yeah, that first bit, I loved that. I thought that was so funny. I was like, you know what? These guys are basically saying, screw you, our beer's too good for you. Fuck off. Basically.
And B2 or C2? What's B2 and C2? What's B2, C2 Wargaming?
might have been the link that they posted.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's basically how do you drink your coffee?
Gotcha.
Oh God, B2 or C2? Are you kidding me right now?
Well, what's B2C2?
Oh, those are like, you remember what accidentally happened with my coffee this morning? That's a B2. That's a C2 right there. It's real. It's real
milky coffee.
Oh yeah, I would have to say D4 all the time, and of course Alyssa is F6.
Am I? Is that a link?
No, F6 is black coffee. It's the.
That can't be the most extreme now. An F6.
Yeah.
No, because then you got like, you know, your espressos and stuff, which is black, but even more, and I don't drink them. I like it black done.
Right. Okay, so this particular chart, you're an F6.
All right.
It's just black coffee because it's a creamer to coffee ratio. That's what it is.
Gotcha.
That's what A1 is basically a glass of milk, and then F6 is a cup of coffee, black.
All right.
So and then everything else is in between. So yeah, definitely D4 for me all the way.
So Princess Strager actually had a question for you on Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Lore of the Force. Lore of the Force. I know a little bit about the lore of the Force, but as far as a movie seeing the origins of it, yeah, that would be interesting because if you think about it, the Force is, you know, it's not like it was artificially created by anything.
Well, it's little Metallorians, right, or whatever they're called.
Midichlorians. And
yeah.
No.
Like little things. They cover that in the prequels.
Yeah,
they literally cover the lore in the prequels. It's canon.
Yes. Just so everybody knows, Alyssa likes teasing me about certain things that were brought up that not all Star Wars fans are a fan of. Yes, Pex goes, no, you said the bad word. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Brian's got a point, Strega. In the Clone Wars, they bring up a lot of stuff with the origin of the Force. There's actually, and Rebels touches on it a little bit, especially like with the episode of The World Between Worlds, when Ezra finds the ruins with the motif of the three, the father, the daughter, and the son. So yeah, the Force, being that the Force is not, obviously it's not generated by anything, it's not like there's something out there that necessarily creates it aside from life, because the Force it's kind of like what's the Disney movie with the colors of the wind, Pocahontas. It's like, you know, it's everywhere, it's in everything. You know, it's in and Yoda even says it in Empire Strikes Back. It's the tree, it's the rock, it's the space between, it's, you know, it's everything.
It's the best of the Florians.
Even the ship. Well, yeah, and that's, you know, Lucas started kind of going off the rails when he was trying to bring up like stuff on a microscopic level. He actually, there's interviews with him where he wanted to talk about going into literally microscopic levels of the midichlorians and like almost creating like a movie about the biology of it. It was freaking weird. But yeah, the nature of the Force and everything is definitely an interesting topic. I'm kind of sad what in the sequel trilogy what they did with the Force in regards to especially the last film, The Rise of Skywalker, because if you think about it, the Last Jedi even almost started to do it. They started talking about the, you know, aspects of the Force and everything, and how it can be, you know, it's not a bloodline, it's not a lineage or anything like that. It's like anybody can be it. But the Force in a weird way is kind of like it tries to create balance itself. Anyways, it's a whole thing. But yes, I do know a little bit about it. If you ever have any questions about it, you can ask me, and I could do my best to answer it. But yes, I agree. There should be. I would love to see a show or something that explores more into the nuances of the Force, without the weird biology, midichlorian stuff. So I'm glad. I'm so happy that Rise of Skywalker spoke to you on those levels. That's brilliant. I actually hold that film pretty high in my ranking of the Star Wars films. I wish, all in all, I wish the sequel trilogy had gone a different direction. But that's just me with my high expectations, because obviously we had such a long period of time to think about what could have come next. But I loved it for what it was. I loved it for what it was. It didn't give me the story that I necessarily wanted, but it's the story we have, and for what we have, I think it's great, personally. So, I'm glad. Oh, that's hearing that it's your favorite. That actually makes me really happy. That's so awesome. Oh, nice, Alex. I'll have to look into that. Interesting.
The holiday special, said the Magnificent Pecs. I'm pretty sure Hamill himself would disagree with that. No, he actually wouldn't. He would agree with you.
The holiday special is pretty painful. It's pretty painful to watch. Oh man, it's. I mean, I do like though that because it wasn't considered canon, um, for a long time, but obviously in the holiday special, they're trying to get Chewbacca home for Life Day. Well, Life Day is now canon. In the first episode of The Mandalorian, that guy that he captures, the guy talks about going home for Life Day, and it's like, holy crap, are you kidding me? Life Day is now canon because of everything. I just think it's hilarious.
Marlin's Girl Leggy 3. No. That dance that Chewie Kid does is something else, isn't it? Marlin's Girl. Nope. Nope.
No, it's so bad. They've got it's like they're watching like this weird VR with the freaking. It's so bad. Holiday special is so bad.
Like, short response, nope.
Nope. And it's funny, Lobaka, Lobaka's actually now, if I'm not mistaken, they reintroduced him as canon, if I'm not mistaken, in the no, not Lobaka. No, hold on. Because Lobaka was his nephew. It was his son is no, it wasn't Lobaka. It was oh no, it's shoot, what the hell is Chewbacca's kid's name?
Shoot, that's a weird name.
Lumpy. Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Hey, nice one, Brian. Good one. Lumpy and Wargame all over it.
Yeah, it's Lumpa Waru, also known as either Waru or Lumpy. That's Chewbacca's kid. It was Lumpy was brought back into canon with the Aftermath trilogy. I think it's the second book. Chewie goes back home, they basically go and they liberate Kashyyyk from the remnants of the Empire. Yeah, Lobaka was from the Young Jedi books. Yeah, he was friends with the Solo twins, and what's her name with one arm and the Rancor tooth lightsaber. I don't remember her name. Holy crap! It's been 25 years since I've read those. 20 years? How long has it been? Holy moly! Young Jedi books are something I haven't thought about in a while. Yeah, He-Man. No, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. We've totally derailed your show, Alyssa. I'm so sorry.
No. This is what we do on Mondays. We hang out with Chill. We talk about the hobby and the passions and the things that we love so much. No, this is what we're doing. Because all I'm doing right now is just inking in general shapes. This is the perfect time for me to be dicking about over here while we talk about awesome fucking things. It's all good.
So Strega, as far as Masters of the Universe, He-Man, and all that jazz, and isn't She-Ra part of the Masters of the Universe franchise? The last time I saw anything regarding the Masters of the Universe, I was single digits and I was yay tall. I actually used to have action figures. I had Battle Cats, and I think we had a He-Man, and I think we had what was the guy with the Fisto, whatever the hell his name was? The guy with the action figure you could actually he was springs in his torso, so you twist him and he would spring back and punch out with his thing. But aside from when I was a really young kid, I've never Fister. His name was Fister.
That's a terrible name.
I agree. but no, I haven't watched or even thought about it in that many years, you know, sadly. So I don't really have an opinion, sadly. It was Fisto. Thank you, Alex. Brian trying to take us down the wrong path. Um, but yeah, I don't really have an opinion, and I haven't seen the new She-Ra on I think it's on Netflix. I heard it's great. I heard it's amazing. I just haven't watched it. It's never been. And I know that Kevin Smith is doing an animated Master of the Universe that I don't think it's coming out this year. It might be coming out next year. But he's doing a Masters of the Universe. I don't think it's a reboot. I think it's supposed to be a continuation. But yeah, I mean, I don't know much about it. That's great. That's awesome. I love that the new She-Ra is inclusive like that. That's awesome. As it and everything else should be, in my opinion, personally. Oh, and the She-Ra is a reboot. Okay. Nice. Pex, which one is that? Is that the so Canadian horror movie? So we've got either Tusk or that's got to be Tusk, right? Or is it Yoga Hosers? Which see, I was watching an interview with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin, the two of them are doing Master Universe. And I didn't think that it was going to be a reboot. I thought it was going to be a continuation. If it is a reboot, okay, hopefully they do it well. Hopefully they don't screw anything up. But Alyssa, how's the map going?
The map is going magnificently. Here's a whole bunch of grey lines as I sketch and black lines as I ink in over it. It's taking shape. It's definitely taking shape. I don't do cutaways that often, so this is definitely an exercise for me on perspective and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm digging it. I really am. I'm glad I dropped in these little characters here for a sense of scale. Mr. Amphora guy, I freaking love him. But it's taking shape, without a doubt. And I started adding a little bit of brickwork at the bottom just so we could sort of see what that would look like. I think it's going to rock. I think it's going to be a real nice map. But I do think this is going to be a little bit of a tough one for me to do. We got to keep doing it, right? We got to keep doing things like this and get better and better and better at it.
Right, exactly.
There's definitely some perspective things here for me to learn, without a doubt. Hey, Princess Dragger, thank you so much. The compliment helps my confidence in what we're doing here. I think it's going to be a nice quarter panel map. And a little cutout like this, so we've got people talking to each other, someone working down below, someone bringing in the amphora. Brock's almost doubtlessly never had a Roman, by the way, but I drew a whole bunch of Romans in this thing because that's what we do here in the Faden channel. Alright, so another question. I'm gonna ask this one, Jack, but this is not a version war, because everyone keep in mind what Jack just said. As long as you're geek and nerd on something, as long as you're passionate about something gaming orientated, then you are cool and it doesn't matter what it is. So, favorite gaming system.
Oh, gaming
or
system.
systems.
Oh, I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. So, say favorite gaming systems. I gotta say that the currently the ones that we play, I want to say I like Call of Cthulhu, and that style of game, that percentage, style. It's funny. I like Shadowrun as a campaign setting. I don't think I necessarily like the rules. So I'm gonna not say that one, which is funny because I do love role-playing in Shadowrun. As a matter of fact, last night I was doing some writing and some brainstorming for our ongoing Shadowrun campaign.
No, but I think that's fair. I think
used to
that's a
like-
really good observation that you're making, because it's not just about like the setting, right? You clearly love the setting of Shadowrun, but the rule system as written kind of clunky.
Right. And like one of the things that obviously Cthulhu has going for it is the rule system's okay, and then but it obviously then it's the mythos behind it that's then the stories that come from it that are great. Because if you think about it, that I forget what the name of the system now that is called with for Shadowrun, or not Shadowrun, for Call of Cthulhu. It's that I've got it over here. It's forget what it is. That style of percentage system. We've actually played a couple of other games using that system. Not a fan, and I'm wondering if it's if Cthulhu the stories and the game aspect of it has actually helped beat that out. So Cthulhu definitely in there, but again, it might be biased because of the storytelling. I had a lot of fun with Deadlands. That was a really fun system.
Loved Deadlands. Loved Deadlands. Deadlands loved me too.
And to tell you the truth, I really dig the D20-ish stuff. So D&D 5th edition, I've been really digging. And before it got crazy complex with all the additional stuff, I was a big fan of like 3rd edition 3.5 Pathfinder. Before it became just a splat slog. I used to really dig that. I don't know. It was simple, and I know it was flawed, but I enjoyed it. Sadly, I've never played GURPS. I've never played Rifts. Oh, you know what? I played GURPS once. At that convention we were at. I'm not a super fan of that.
We played GURPS. Was that the zombie one?
Yeah. I think that was the zombie one. Wasn't a super fan of that, but that might have been again the experience because the game wasn't brilliant. I've only played Traveler that one time, and it was okay. I think I like the whole aspect of character creation in Traveler more. I've always wanted to try, and the D6 West End Games Star Wars system was fine. I just liked it because it was Star Wars. I do want to try the Fantasy Flight Star Wars system though. I have the dice and the rules for it. We just haven't played it. So I want to say D20 asterisk, Deadlands, and then Call of Cthulhu asterisk. Personally, what about you, Alyssa?
It's funny listening to you talk. I think in all fairness, and I'm going to answer the question about systems that I like, but I think also your enjoyability, is that a word? It is now, of a system can at least be partly driven by how the game is run, right? It's like you run a great Shadowrun game, but you keep things moving. Now, Shadowrun is a very crunchy system, but my experience with you is more positive than, let's say, if I went to a convention game and experienced the same thing. We've been to convention games a lot. We've had some great experiences, and I think that helps, like, endear you to a particular system. But we've also been in some poorly run games, let's just say, and I think that can actually put a little notch against a system. You'll go, because you don't get to experience the joy of it, I think that's part of it, and I think you've had a positive Call of Cthulhu experience just because of let's say the way I run my Call of Cthulhu's. But that system is nice, and it lends itself to the storytelling that Call of Cthulhu needs, and I think that's a good system because of it. I also like Deadlands. And a lot of people hate explodey dice. They hate them with a passion. I actually like explodey dice, and I like the way that the Deadlands system ran, and the way and how easy it was to create a character. And that wasn't even with a particularly brilliant GM. He was a good GM, but that overall, it just it just worked. It worked for me. I liked it. I think Deadlands has got to be one of my favorites. That and Call of Cthulhu.
Nice.
Brian McWhirter, biased against games with funky dice symbols. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, because he was saying how the D6, the West End game Star Wars is the best Star Wars, but then he said, but he's biased against games with funky dice symbols because the Fantasy Flight ones, they had to print their own dice because they have funky symbols on them. who knows what the hell they means. Yeah, that's what it was. Strega, thank you. Yeah, basic role playing system is the basic role playing game system is what Cthulhu came off of. Which actually I think Cthulhu came first, I think, and then they kind of broke it down.
Was it Cthulhu or was it RuneQuest?
Oh, you know what? It might have been RuneQuest that did it first. Yeah, because that's the same system as well. They both use that. I've never actually played a RuneQuest game. So that would be.
See, RuneQuest is fun. RuneQuest is fun if you want to experience like feeling like any combat you get into could be deadly. Like you do not pull your sword out unless you know you're going to win this thing. Unless you feel really confident. If you've got a skill of 60% with sword and 40% with block, okay, you better think twice if you're going to pull this weapon out, because even a peasant with a cudgel could give you a little bit of a working over. He gets that low roll, you don't get the block, he does a hellacious amount of damage, and your skull's caved in. It is a brutal system, but if you're in the mood for brutal, it works really well.
Almost sounds like it'd be a great con game. You know, because
I think it could.
It could be like, and in 2 hours, well, you're dead. All right.
And the Expanse. So Green Loontoon, we own the Expanse. I haven't even cracked it open. I've got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's still in shrink wrap on the shelf behind her.
It might well be.
Well, not in the shelf. Your guys' perspective. My perspective. It's behind her. I have a different angle.
Alright, so by the way, it's a time check. We're an hour in. We're gonna go for another 30 minutes.
Sounds good. Do you need? I can do an exclamation point wine if you'd like.
Yes, I do.
Or I can simply ask you, do you need a drink?
I need a drink, and I'm gonna ask this question for you to think about it, and I want to hear everyone's answer in the chat, and I'm gonna tell you mine favorite Game of Thrones character.
Oh, this is gonna be an easy one.
Alright, chat. Game of Thrones, your favourite character. I'm drawing like a right wazzock here, by the way. I acknowledge this. I'm trying to get a sense of what angle I want to do here, and I think it's going to be something like this. Which means we don't need this. Do the end credits count? Yeah, you can have the end credits, you heathen. And actually, you know what? I'm not even sure I agree with you. Because while I feel that the last 2 seasons weren't as strong as the earlier seasons, and there were a lot of holes. There were a lot of holes. The minute you start getting into battles and magic and dragons, and you've got a kid that could just like see anywhere, anytime, but apparently he's not gonna be able to scout shit out. I start to have questions. I'm not gonna lie to you. But is it the Prince of Dawn, Jack? Did I get that right, Mr. Flippy Flip guy?
Yes.
Prince of Dawn.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal's.
Pedro Pascal, Prince of Dawn. That guy. And he was in the show for all of, what, 2 minutes? I love that character. Now, I love the Hound, too. I love the Hound.
Oberyn Martell is the character.
Oberyn Martell. I loved Oberyn Martell quite a bit. And I love the Hound. But I love the Hound and his relationship with, what's her name? Arya?
Yeah.
That. And I've played a lot of characters actually that have been a little Arya-like. I'm just gonna admit that right now. But the scene where they're in the tavern and it's all about chickens. It's like, are you gonna die for a fucking chicken? Someone is. That whole scene, from start to finish, I've watched it, I swear, dozens of times. I love it. Him and Arya. They may be on my favorite characters, but it has to be a duo. It has to be a duo.
Yeah, Oberyn Martell is definitely a pretty fierce contender, for sure. Gosh, now that you've put that in my head, is there anybody that's better? because I was when I was walking away very cockily saying, "Oh, that's easy." I was thinking Arya, but then I totally forgot about Oberyn. He and yeah, with a close second to Tyrion. Yeah, Strega definitely would.
Tyrion definitely a brilliant character without a doubt.
Pex, yes, Syrio Farrell. So sad. Okay, spoilers. So sad he didn't make it out of the first season. I was so hoping he would one day show up again. And like, cause if you don't see someone die on screen, there's always a chance that they could come back.
I was hoping he would. I really was.
Me too. I was hoping she would have made it. Like she's following the faceless man. She's becoming an assassin. I was so hoping he would just pop up and be like, "Oh, by the way, I'm one of them." Yeah. What's her name? Brienne of Tarth was pretty cool. I really dug her.
Yeah, Brienne of Tarth was neat. She had an interesting story arc, I felt. The whole like relationship between her and Jaime.
Read my last line. Let's see. Okay, Bad Games. Oh, top secret name because that pulled me so aimed.
Hey, don't jump ahead on the questions here. We've got bad games, but we can do bad games.
Oh, we can do bad games. So he was commenting on how bad games for me it was top secret, mainly because at the time I pulled a pistol, aimed right at the back of the head of an NPC, had a bad roll, and shot him his own self in the foot. That's pretty funny. Yes, the Onion Knight was a good one. Yeah, I definitely gotta go. I think I'm gonna have to go Oberyn with you. Pedro Pascal, in my opinion, brought that character to life. It's just sad because in the show, he was the only character of Dorne to really get a lot of attention. Sure, his daughters, the Vipers, kind of came in later, and you see his brother, the King of Dorne, who they really crapped on that storyline, which sucks. From the books. I mean, not that I don't try to be a book snob, but when a book is so good and you could see, I can totally see how you would translate this to the screen, and they don't even try, or they try kind of, and it's like you could have done something awesome with this, but you decided not to, and you went a completely different direction, and it just Oberyn all the way. He was perfect. And now he's the Mandalorian. Well, one of the 3 people doing the Mandalorian. Oh, Alex is sitting over in the corner with Ghost.
Nothing wrong with Ghost. And that was one of the things that I think featured more prominently in the books, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, than the show. Like, all of those wolves.
The dire wolves, yeah.
The dire wolves. Like, they were a big part of the books. And I felt, and I've not read the books, okay? I'm not claiming I have. But to me, watching the show, after I want to say season 2, maybe 3, maybe, it felt like they were just pushed to one side. Like, they just didn't want to deal with the cost of the CGI.
I was going to say, the joke was that they ran out of their CGI budget for the dragons. So they didn't have any CGI left for the wolves.
And I felt like they could have been a huge part of it, and could have been a fun part of it, according to what you've told me how they feature in the books.
Mm-hmm. Now, Strega has a question, but if it's gonna be a question that comes up later in your questions list, I won't answer it yet. But she wants to know what's our favorite published campaign setting.
It's not in there. Go for it. Favorite campaign settings.
Well, and she wants to know yours as well. So,
well, and so for me, honestly, it's very difficult. No, it's not. Let me answer in 2 parts. It's very difficult because I've always written my own campaign settings right from the beginning. I never got into Greyhawk. I never got into... I like Dragonlance. I like Dragonlance quite a bit. But we never really played in Dragonlance. And so, I never got into campaign settings. Now, if I can pick Cthulhu as a campaign setting, it wins. Hands down. And I don't care what system we're playing. If we're in the Cthulhu lore, if we're allowed to do that, then I'm going to do that. If I'm not allowed to do that, then I'm going to pick Ravenloft. Ravenloft is my campaign setting. And one of the reasons for that is it speaks to me. I love the setting. I love the vibe. I love the I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. But I love the ambience of Ravenloft quite a bit. It agrees with me as a GM. Like, so as a GM, if I picked up a pre-written scenario and ran it, my players would know that I was working off a pre-written scenario. It didn't have my voice. But I could pick up a Ravenloft scenario and run that, and no one knew the difference. They didn't actually know I was running off a scenario. So if anything, my voice is really in sync with Ravenloft, like a huge amount. So I picked Ravenloft as a setting. That's mine.
Nice. If I was allowed to do one akin to yours, like Call of Cthulhu, mine would be Shadowrun, the whole cyberpunk with magic. That would be my favorite type of setting. Cyberpunk, futuristic cyberpunk with magic. But if I was going to do one of the more traditional settings, like the Ravenlofts or those types of things, I'd probably have to do Legend of the Five Rings, but specifically during the first Clan War era. I know it was a card game first, but then they did do the role-playing game. But it would be that.
And Zombie, no, I will admit I have not read yours yet. But that also leaves plenty of room for yours being my favourite. But no, I haven't. I'm not going to lie to you, my friend. Green Lungtung, Dragonlance. Dragonlance has got a lot to go for. I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I was a little bit of a snob with campaign settings. Like, I never had an interest in actually reading anyone's campaign setting. And it was the artwork, I think, originally of Dragonlance that made me go, what is this? That was Elmore, right? And I was like, what is this? And I found myself playing Dragonlance and enjoying Dragonlance quite a bit. Dragonlance would be, it's in the top 5 for me, maybe top 3, without a doubt.
Funnily enough, you mentioned that it was kind of Elmore's artwork that kind of got you into it originally. Funnily enough, for me with the Forgotten Realms, specifically the Northwest region, Icewind Dale and Waterdeep and all that, with the Dark Elf books, it was Todd Lockwood's art for, I want to say it was one of the later ones, because I'd never read them all. I'd never read any of them. And suddenly I saw this piece of Dritz the Dark Elf. Todd Lockwood is a brilliant artist in and of himself with anything he does. But this piece that he did was so beautiful and it sparked all of my fantasy D&D thoughts going. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I was like, oh, this is book 13 or 27 or 82 of this Dark Elf series. I got to go back and now read all these. And I read them from the beginning. I went, they had these great collected volumes where they would have, because each of the books was actually kind of like a trilogy. So it was like this trilogy followed by this trilogy followed by this trilogy, but they were all following the characters and they were all in chronological order. So I read them all, and holy scamoly. I mean, I stopped reading them at a certain point because sadly a lot of the main characters had died off. Because they were all in the books, it's like there are humans and there's halflings and there's stuff, and I was like, well, if at the point the main character is an elf, you're gonna have friends die over the years. That's kind of what happens, because 90 years just went by in the books and all your friends are dead, so what are you gonna do about it? So when a lot of the main characters started dying off, I was kind of like, all right, that's cool. Yes, R.A. Salvatore did indeed hit Chewie with a moon, sadly, but what can you do? The beginning of the end, in my opinion, with the Yuzum Long books, those Star Wars books were bad. But the exact same thing with you. Saw this piece of art and I was like, what is this setting? I want to know more about this.
And I think that's the power of artwork, right? Without a doubt. Yeah. Princess, how did you get into Waterdeep? What was it that drew you in? Was it the artwork? Was it something else?
do think, Brian, Chewie went down punching at the moon. I do think that is true. It's Chewie, for God's sakes.
All right, so I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna skip some questions here as we're coming into the next 10 minutes here.
I kind of like how it's kind of organic. So yeah, go for it.
And we're gonna definitely come back to the questions. But I want to know your favorite and best role-playing experience, or just gaming experience. Alexander Wrights 91, thank you very much for the follow. That is extremely appreciated.
Greetings. Alexander writes, hello. Let's see.
Green Lantern, I will not follow the script, sir. I will not. No, I'm going to bounce around all over the place. Whenever has this show had a script? Get out of here. Alright, so, favourites. And the reason why I'm asking this one, because it has a counterpart. So, your favourite gaming moment. Any game, I don't care if it's a board game, a role-playing game, a computer game. Give me one of your highlight gaming experiences. And maybe in a future channel, a future show, we'll open this up to different types of gaming experiences. But give me your favorite gaming experience.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing because if you had to, that would definitely have to have subcategories. That's like, what's your favorite film? Well, maybe ask me what my favorite comedy is. Ask me what my favorite horror film is. You can't just say, what is your one favorite movie of all time? Because films are so different. For me personally, that would be my response. So favorite gaming experience would definitely be okay, so what are we talking about? Are we talking about a gaming experience when I was running a game, when I was playing a game? Was it a video game experience? That type of thing. I gotta say, and this is gonna sound weird because it was such a weird moment, but there's a style of game for a computer game. It's like a narrative. It's like a story based game. Some of them that I've played have been The Wolf Among Us. There was the Tales from the Borderlands, the Walking Dead games, that type of thing. So I have to say it's probably a two-way tie between Life is Strange and the very first Walking Dead game. And again, I'm answering this from a asterisk computer gaming.
Okay, and we're definitely going to hit on the other subjects. What though put them into the category of favorite for you?
I think it had to do with the writing and the acting. People who say that voice acting isn't acting are ridiculous. The amount of emotion and weight that these actors, if in a way they actually have it even harder because they have to convey, because they don't know necessarily what the final product is going to be. They're not able to see it necessarily right in front of them. So they have to convey so much emotion and so much power just purely based on their voice. And so for both Life is Strange and the first season of The Walking Dead, it was the writing and the acting was so powerful and so beautiful, and both of them were tragic. Neither game makes you like leave it going, well, that was a fun experience, let's do that again. I was so emotionally drained from both of those games, but weirdly in a good way. Both of them, and I am man enough to admit this, I was bawling my eyes out at the end of both of those games, and they're completely different games. They're not connected in any way. They're just two separate games. Life is Strange and the Walking Dead, Telltale Games, The Walking Dead, the first season. And they were just because by the end of the game, you had been, especially with both of those, because I played them when they were completed, and so I had the entire game as a whole, while I know for other people that played it as it was coming out, they came out episodically. Like they'd play episode 1 and then they'd have to wait like 3 or 4 months or 6 months, and then episode 2, and then they'd have to wait like 2 or 3 months and they'd get episode 3. So over all of this time, you get to know these characters. They become your friends. They become your family. You get so invested in them. Maybe even you see some of yourself in them, because the stories were written so well that they felt like real people. It was such good writing, and they were kind of like slice of life. Yes, one of them takes place in a zombie apocalypse, and yes, one of them is about a girl who can turn back time, which is kind of a cool concept. But you get to know the characters so well, and the stories are written so well, and by the end of them, the stories go where they need to go, and none of it felt contrived. It felt like this is what would happen. This is what the course of events would become, and they were so beautiful. And to this day, those might be my favorite. Now, again, computer gaming, memorable gaming experiences would be those games, 100% hands down. I don't know if I've ever had anything that powerful in a computer gaming experience before those two.
I don't think that's a good answer. And I think we're definitely going to come back to this. We're going to talk just about our top moments. Several people in the chat have already given us some great ones, like Pex going into a game store for the first and discovering all the things I didn't know about for the first time. Pex, I feel you. There was a store in Liverpool, England, that sold miniatures in the basement. And you would go downstairs and they had the walls lined with minis in glass cabinets. And I'm talking 83, 84, early days, you know. And you would go with a little bit of pen and paper and you'd write down the code numbers of the one you wanted. And you'd hand them to the guy and he'd pull them out of little drawers behind him and hand them across. An incredible experience, I get you. Princess Dreger, favorite experience, I was being GM'd by someone on the D&D 3E, asked the GM if I could tap into magical supernatural ability to make a jump. He denied it. However, that moment inspired me to write a variant of the monk class. It's one of those things where it's like your game influences future things. So, Princess, I feel you on that one. That's really cool.
Brian, I think they were like the bugs. I think they were the bugs. The VW bugs. That was the name of them. Yeah, it is funny how sometimes a memorable gaming experience can be that. It can almost be a negative one because it's you then deciding, I want to make this different. Like that. Even though it was a negative experience, it was such a powerful experience that you then wanted to grow from it or expand off of it or do your own thing from it. That's actually interesting. I never even thought of that possibility. Yeah, but like you said, Alyssa, I mean, we have so many experiences. We could have this exact same conversation where it was like, what's a GMing experiences that was most memorable to you? What was a tabletop player moment that was more memorable to you?
Yeah, I think we could build some entire shows just around this question, couldn't we?
100%.
All right. Well, in a similar vein, and before we depart for the evening, I'm going to keep nudging this map along here. Give me an example of a worst gaming moment. It could be anything. Worst gaming moment. Bad rules, bad GM, bad judgment call, bad dice rolls. A bad gaming moment. And I'll go first, okay? I'll give you an example of a moment that I'm not happy with in my gaming experience. We're a role-play heavy group. I've got some very dear friends that I've known for a long time that I play with, and I love them very dearly. And in character to such an extent that it started to affect my personal relationship with one of the other players. He was making some stupid calls, OOC, that was affecting the game. So, and I'll hit save. So it was affecting, and I've been hitting save as I go along, by the way. But he did something in game that my character was very resentful of, not appreciative at all, and I allowed that role-playing moment to affect how I felt about this other human being. And that's a low light for me. That was a learning moment for me. That because it taught me that sometimes you just gotta go, whoa. Do you realize if you do this how much you're gonna piss off my character? But to have a mature adult response to the situation versus actually bringing it to the real world. So that is a low light for me. That happened and wasn't proud of it.
Yeah. I have something akin to that.
See a zombie.
Something that's akin to that, and this is actually same group of friends, same situation, and it's a negative gaming experience for me because it essentially I was part of the problem, sadly, and it was during that time when we weren't communicating like adults about the game from an out of character perspective, and I won't get into the crazy details so everybody knows, but basically my character was trying to be more clever than he actually was and pretended to side with the bad guys, shall we say. And there were other situations that were going on in the real world and in the game that were causing the campaign to spiral out of control. This was a campaign that we had been running for years. But my actions and the fact that I did not communicate with the rest of the players out of character, mind you, all I had to do was out of character say, hey guys, this is what he's planning on doing. This is what I'm planning on doing. And I didn't, and I was one of the cogs in the wheel that caused that epic campaign to ultimately come to an end and fail. And that character ended up dying because he didn't need to, sadly. That character didn't need to die. The bad situation didn't need to get bad. The DM didn't have to prep you were the DM, didn't have to do months of prep work just to get derailed literally in a single day. And it just ended up being such a horrible, bad experience that to this day, I mean, it's one of those where, yes, I am such a proponent of communication. I am willing to break the rules, quote unquote, and discuss things that the characters might not know, but for the sake of the integrity of the game, we need to have this discussion. The do you know that your character's actions are literally about to mess things up on a campaign level? I need you to be aware of this because that's going to be what happens. Yes, your character might not know this, but you as the player need to know this. And what's unfortunate is there's some players that don't have the maturity to even respond to that type of thing. I actually think that we have a player who's a friend of ours who, when confronted with that type of thing, they get very defensive. Even though for all other purposes, they seem like they're very open to change and open to go with the flow. I think they're the type of person that if they're confronted with something that like your actions are going to be disruptive, I think they might actually be like, okay, well, this is what I would do, and almost kind of come back at it as like, but that's what my character would do, kind of a thing, So it's one of those, when you have a group of friends that you've been playing with for a very long time, you'd think you'd be able to have those types of conversations, but some people are just wired differently, sadly. But yes, my contribution to the downfall of a great campaign, because I did not discuss what was going on with the rest of the group and where my head was at.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. As the GM of that particular one, I think that is an excellent example. So on that note, we've been going for about an hour and 33 minutes, she says. I think this is a good time to end it for the evening. Jack, thanks for being with us. I really do appreciate you hanging out. I love this chit-chat. I love the change of pace that it brings. And I think we're going to make this a recurring question. We're going to talk about a highlight and a low light in our gaming experiences. And I'm sure all of us have examples for days.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it could be so Strega, let's see. Worst experience. GM house rules. 3 crits kill, 3 crit fails affects the party. I rolled 3 nat 1s and decapitated a fellow character. Oh no. Oh no. See, accidentally causing another player's demise is so crappy. Oh, I can only imagine.
That's a low light. That's a low light right there.
Thank you everybody for being here.
Yes, thank you everyone. I want to thank everyone that is subscribed to me very much from the bottom of my soul. Your support not only empowers me, but it all goes back into the channel. And starting next week, you're going to see some great benefits when we have a private Discord just for you. And I want to also thank my Patreons. I've largely neglected my Patreon account for the last year, with little moments of me coming up here and there throwing maps at them. That's all going to change starting next week. Pex has been hard at work, not only with goals, but rewards. Every level is right now going to feel very loved. So to my Patreons and to my subscribers, thank you so much. It's really a humbling experience to have your support. For the map that we're doing for Trollord Games, the Castle Keeper's Guide, we have done the Thorpe, the Hamlet, the Village, all with stupid, crazy detail. And now we're working on the block. You gotta say that, the block. And it's getting close. We're inking it in. I'm dialing in some of the perspective angles on this. I feel pretty good about a lot of this. It's probably going to be 2 more sessions this week. We're going to do Tuesday, Thursday. Tuesday, Thursday? What happened to Wednesday? I don't know. Don't ask questions. This week is block week. By the time we come out of this, we're going to be done. You can see I'm starting to add some character details. I'm starting to add some brick details. I'm probably going to, by the way, delete these bricks. I just wanted to get a sense for how it was going to work. I think it will. I think this is going to be a great little map. It's our first cutaway. So with that said, we're back tomorrow. 5:30 Pacific Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to continue the block session, and we're just going to keep on doing the ink work on this bad boy. I want to appreciate all of you hanging out with me tonight, every single one of you. Like the new people and the old people. Thank you. Here on this channel, we build worlds, we create people, we give them little jobs. This is Sam. Sam is the Amphora guy. That's what we do. With that said, let's see what Sam has to do tomorrow. Everyone, have a great one. Jack, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, my dear.
I love you all. See you tomorrow night. I'll see you then.